Oh, I think we can start now. Hello, everybody. Um, I'm Maíra Valentim, and I'm gonna show you a presentation of the introduction for props and sets. Um, so it's gonna be like an hour of talk, and then I'll do a demo afterwards. So, and if you have any questions, feel free to interrupt, really. Even if you want to use the microphone, it's totally fine. I even prefer actually, so we can like so we can talk, Sometimes I might miss the chat, I don't know. Hello everybody. Thank you for coming, really. Very glad. And yeah, I think for some people it might be a little anyway, like a bit of a beginner type of topic, but I hope I can bring something that is useful to you. Hello, Paulina. Good to see you guys. Okay, so let me start the presentation. I'm going to share my screen. And then, okay, sure. Let's going to start here. I guess you guys can share. Okay, yeah. Good, so I can see the chat here. So yeah, if you guys want to ask anything, let me know, okay? I'm gonna start here. So yeah, so this class is gonna be about props and sets. It's something that I really like, props. I just wanna introduce myself a little bit. So I'm a concept artist and background painter. I moved to Canada. I landed in Vancouver first, 2018. And I live in Montreal now, but I was living in Toronto before, so I tried all the cities in Canada. So just a bit about my journey into art. So I study graphic design in Brazil. And then I started working as an intern, graphic designer. And then I found out about 3D and I wanted to do that. So I started doing 3D. So I was kind of like a generalist for 3D. And I was mostly working for the advertising and editorial market in Brazil, so for studios. And then later on I started to be a freelancer. I was doing the same thing. And then I got to a point that I felt very stuck in my career because I knew 3D, but I didn't know how to do things my own. Like I always needed a concept. I didn't know how to do it, basically. Or it would take a very long time to do something. So that's when I went to Vancouver and I studied at Vancouver Film School, the animation concept art program. And it was really cool to take this year off and just study drawing, everything about concept. And so in 2019, I was able to get a job in a game studio in Vancouver. And I work in a game called Neopets, Island Builders. Some people might know Neopets. It's an old game that they brought back. And then later on, I worked as a 2D layout background, as a background painter and line artist. I enjoyed a lot. So I worked for Night at the Museum and Young Love. And then my most recent was a CG designer for Spidey in Amazing Friends. And currently I'm a freelancing and taking some time for myself. I just want to show a bit of my works from like, I can show a bit of the 3D stuff I was doing before Concept. So you guys understand a little bit. So I would do a lot of works like for advertising, for example. So this is for Cornetto, but it was really fun, it was pretty fun. And it's a very collaborative work too, like with photographers. So I learned a lot back in time. And but like I said, all those they had a concept before, so it was not like my creation and stuff. And or sometimes I would do something realistic. This is for Harley Davidson, so this is like 3D, you know, and you have to match the camera. It's very technical. It's fun too. It's a bit more technical. So this is the type of work I used to do. Like for magazines, this is a famous magazine in Brazil. So yeah, and here's the 3D stuff. That's cool. And then later on, I worked in those projects. I cannot show you, unfortunately, because it's copyrighted and stuff. They don't allow. I can show you the Neopets. And this is when I started my concept art career. And as you can see, those are basically a bunch of props. It's for a mobile game, so you have to see from the top view. But they're really fun. They're really fun to do because you have to think about everything, like the silhouette, how they're gonna interact with the characters, scale. And here you have like a progression, like a phase 1 and a phase 2 of the same prop. So this is really cool. Here's a bit of development. And also I did a lot of those icons that there are a bunch of props too. So it's more like, it's more graphic, like it's more graphic, like a graphic design, but it was pretty fun. Sometimes some illustrations from that. And yeah, here's my portfolio, the work I do. This is personal work too, and this is another prop. I really like to draw props. They're fun. But yeah, that's okay. So that's what I wanted to show. So here is the last works I did for it was for Atomic Cartoons. So now here we start from the very beginning. So what is a prop? It's an interesting question because basically a prop can be anything, like literally anything. But a collection of props helps to understand the environment you're living in. But those are very realistic, and but still you can tell like from which time they're from. They tell stories. So this is pretty cool about props. They're just not stylized. So what is a prop in animation? And you're gonna have like different props. Like you can have a prop in the background that doesn't matter too much, or you can have a collection of props like this one from Cory Lofts, and like they're super cool, like they're super fun, and you can kind of tell the house, you know, the type of person that lives in this house just because of those props. And yeah, they're really cool. I love it. So the props, they are essential for storytelling, and sometimes for games, for the gameplay. And here is a prop that I brought from the first assignments I did for Spidey and Amazing Friends. It was actually pretty fun. So the assignment was design a floating Roomba-like device that rovers in the air. When activated, screws and metal bits are magnetically drawn to it. It's supposed to be designed by Tony Stark. Okay, so that was one of my first assignments, and this kind of thing is like, oh damn, it's like a rounded thing. It's kind of boring, right? And how can you transform like a boring object like that to be more fun and reflect his personality? So basically, with what I did, I'll show you the result soon. But I was thinking this prop specifically, it's not a character per se, but it's actually it was like the most important prop of the episode, because basically I'm gonna give some spoiler. But the villains trapped all the Spidey and Amazing Friends somewhere, and they couldn't get out. So they used the device that suck metal parts to suck the villains. So they got stuck, and they were able to save the day. So it was not a character, but it has to have some personality. So this is not the type of prop that is in the background, you know. So I try to bring his character, like his armor, his eyes, to this guy here. I just forgot here. Okay, so here you have the it's called Magnet Mopper. So it was a really fun concept to do. It's quite simple. It's not too complicated, but the thought process behind that you have to do before designing something. And also my art director asked me to not do anything rounded, like to get out of the cylindrical fan, because there was another character that was cylindrical. So basically I did an object that was, I think it's 6 sides. And then you start to bring like those elements, like the eyes, you know, from Iron Man, the armor here, it's from him, and all the details, it's from him. So there you have a prop that has the personality of the character, the owner. And also this is a good design page example for a 3D object, because you have the scale. So here shows, like, this is very important actually, because this page, after being approved, is going to go to the modeling team. So the modeling team, they need to know exactly the size of your prop. So they need to have a reference. So basically our task as the designers is to give all the information to the next person in line. And so we have like to map what they need to do, all the information that they need to create the prop. So scale is super important. This page wouldn't be approved without scale. And because it's a 3D show, they need to know the surfacing reference for it. So they need to know, what is this, right? It's red, okay, but what is that? So you have to tell it's a metal, it's from same material as Iron Man. This was pretty easy because you already have the Iron Man from the show. So they just need to copy the materials, the material properties. And it's also important to do the ortho views for the modeling team. So here's the bottom, top, and front. And also I was asked to do a remote. So it's pretty fun to actually, yeah, it's pretty fun to do remotes. I love to do them. And as you can see here, a scale again, and you have to think how big it is, because it has to fit the character's hands. And because they were trapped, it was this guy here who actually used, so it had to fit their hands and the small guy. His name is Tracy, so yeah, it has to fit Tracy's hand too. And here you have a bit more surfacing reference for it, because it's not only Iron Man's. But yeah, it's super fun. Also, I think what's super cool about this type of assignments is because you also have to think about functionality. And so that's what I'm saying. It's a lot of thinking process, even like the small remote. So you have to think like when the character is actually using it, how they're going to press, what they're going to press. So I put it here. I'm indicating for the next team that you have on and off. So just on and off, it's simple. And this one, the second, would be more like a automated, function that you just press and he goes to the trash can and releases the metal parts. And here's some screenshots from the show. It's really fun to see in 3D and to see like working in the animation. It's really fun. Like and you're kind of like relieved that it worked, you know. Your idea worked. So here they are, and he has the controller in his hand, and it's floating, you know. They're super happy, and here it has the metal beats and stuff. So yeah, it's really fun. Okay, let's go to the next slide. So this one, I wanted to talk about this one. I know some people are big fan. I'm a big fan of The Last of Us, and I just want to talk about this prop because it's more about, this one is more about storytelling rather than like, wow, look at this amazing design that nobody ever seen. It's just to watch. So I'm going to give a little spoiler too, but it's very small, okay, because it happens in the beginning. And so The Last of Us is a game and also a TV show. And it's a post-apocalyptic world, basically, where nothing is working anymore, nothing's being manufactured. It's all over, you know? And think about it. Why this character uses a watch, you know, and it's broken, you know, like why, you know? So I think what I like about props, it's because they really tell stories, you know. So in this case, he used the watch because it was his daughter who gave it to him, and he's a very like pragmatic guy, and he's not very emotional. He's not emotional at all. But the watch, it's kind of like it's like what shows his emotions. So if we go to the next, in the screenshot here, he's talking with Ellie, the other character, and when she leaves the scene, he looks at his watch, you know. So it even became like a trace, yeah, like a character trace to do that. And what I think it's really cool about this prop, it was a concept artist who actually pitched this idea to the director, so they really like the idea, and they put it in the game, and it's in the TV series too. So here are two emotional moments, and it's not a coincidence that you can show the watch here. It's not a coincidence that they are framing here. And what I think it's super cool that people don't catch that at first, but everything is kind of like subliminal messages, you know. Like you're not gonna understand, like, oh yeah, it's the watch, you know, showing his emotional side, but you catch it unconsciously. Anyway, so here are another like memorable props from other shows, because I wanted to show also like different medias, not just animation, because even in real like live action, you're gonna have like props that they're unforgettable. Like you have many movies of Ghostbusters nowadays, and one thing that is gonna be there is gonna be this car, you know. And as a design of the car, if you think about it, it's an old car, and old cars, they're very stylish. So it's an old car in the middle of New York, and all the cars are kind of the same. But this car stands out not only because it's an old car, but because all the junk on the top. And so it's really cool. And here, same with their clothing, with this equipment. It's like a vacuum cleaner. It makes like a really cool silhouette, and it looks like a military equipment. And same here, Back to the Future. Why those movies are so memorable, it's because of not only the story, but the props that they use. So again, a car, and he puts all those wires here. It looks like he was in his garage trying to figure it out. Like he made it himself, not like a manufacturing company who did it. And same with the controller here. It's really cool. And you can see that how they make it interesting, because they put an element here that basically it breaks the symmetry, so it becomes more interesting to see, and shows like the speed of the think it shows the speed of the car and something like that. Yeah, and you have like many controllers. It's crazy, and look how big it is in his hands. So it's such a cool prop, and it takes a lot of time to actually to create them. So what all those props they have in common is strong storytelling, and they help to tell the story of the character and that universe. So I put an image of Grinch because I really like this environment too. It's super fun. Like everything, it reflects his personality. Like if you would get just like a simple like this side table here, you wouldn't say that, wow, this reflects his personality, but all of them together, they do. Okay, so let's go to the next. So just gonna have some water. If you guys have any questions, let me know. So this is it's like a task that you guys can try to do, you know, to yeah, just to practice a bit. So like if you would design a treasure chest, okay, let's design a treasure chest. You go to Google search, and that's what shows you a bunch of stuff. And okay, you're gonna design your treasure chest. And here it is, my treasure chest. But it's kind of boring, right? Because I don't know, if it was just to be in the background of some room, that would be okay, but by itself it doesn't tell you much, you know. If it's like important prop that the character is gonna interact a lot, it doesn't tell anything. It's just a drawing. And why is boring if because it's too generic. So how to make something generic be more interesting? So I'm saying here, it's a story. So even without knowing who the prop belongs to, you can imagine and speculate on the universe it comes from. So basically, you can inject personality traits to your props, and you do that through design principles. But you can literally think like happy, sad, mysterious, you know, villainy, cute, worn out, anything that you wanna tell. So let's try again. Generic. Let's give some personalities. Let's give some story for it. So let's add 3 different qualities for them in 3 different universes. So I put it here: adventures, witchy, mysterious, and sci-fi, safe, something like that. And that's the result I got from what I did. So here you can see that now it's a treasure chest that, you know, they're from completely 3 different people, you know, 3 different worlds. And just looking by them, you can kind of like guess, like at least who the person who always goes back to this treasure chest. So this guy looks like more like a hunter, you know, looking for adventures. Like maybe they put here a lot of yeah, old how can I say, yeah, antique stuff, you know, things that they hunt and they find, they put it there. This one, it's more like cute, smaller. So I wouldn't say that they put like, it can be like it's precious things, but they're small. It's more cute. It's not like you're not gonna put heavy stuff in there. And the sci-fi stuff can be sometimes a little harder to design because you don't have like an actual reference. You know, you have movies and sci-fi references from other people that created, but you can take from our universe and add to it. So I'm just going to show you how I did my research for each of them. So you have to go a bit more specific when you're going to design something that you want to tell a story. So you have to like research the treasure chest itself, but also the individual materials. Sometimes comes a cat in the picture, and then you start to grab from them. Like, I think it's cool to have a big lock. I really like those boxes that are like vintage, and also you have all the wood pieces. You can see that they're very separated. They can be broken. They're worn out. So for this one, I used the shape language for the like a jewelry box, like a more like a jewelry box, something more cute. And even though you have something that could be very threatening, like a skull, right? It's kind of like weird, but it's not a threatening skull. It's kind of cute. So you know that this character here, it could be a witch that might not be the villain. You know, she might be mysterious, but she's not like the bad villain of the show. You know. So yeah, here I put all the stuff I liked about it. So I really love the silhouettes of those jewelry box and those feet, and that's how I come up with the witch one. This one, I was grabbing those boxes. There are like for medicine, for storage. They are kind of boring, but yeah, with sci-fi you can go really, really crazy. But I wanted to keep them kind of in the same aspect ratio, you know. So yeah, and also you're gonna mix with technology, with LED stuff to create sci-fi. And they also have they always have some stickers, you know, like some things telling that could be dangerous. So here maybe the box is safe, but what's inside might be dangerous because of the sign here. So yeah, basically, I think it's interesting to think this way. What is the difference between a drawing and a design? And when you're drawing something, it's just a drawing. I'm not saying that one is better than the other. They just have different functions. But if you want to design something, you have to do prep work, you know, because otherwise you're just going to end up with something generic like the first treasure chest, you know. You're going to do something that it doesn't have much depth in story. So the truth is you have to do prep work. And so you need a character and a backstory, at least have an idea. If you're creating for yourself, if you're in a studio, they're going to give you that. So you're going to be fine here if it's for a studio. But for personal work, you're going to have to work a little bit before to start. So then you have to do research, and you have to watch out with the research, because it's a moment that you can like really go crazy with the research, you know, and you end up being lost in them. So that's why the story comes back, because having a story is like it's having an idea, it's having like a clear idea what you want, you know. You can do back and forth sometimes, like, okay, I'm still figuring out, but you have to have a clear idea. If it's for a story for someone else or a studio, you cannot change the story. So you have to be very precise with your research, and you have to always think about, does this image, this reference here, does inspire me to create what they're asking me for? So after all that, that's when you can start to draw. And I think it's funny because if someone asks me or asks someone in the industry, like, what do you do? Like, how is your day, right? What do you do every day? And people usually answer, oh, I draw the whole day. I draw the whole day. And I don't agree with that because I don't draw the whole day, you know, because big part of the day I'm actually figuring out, you know, and once you figure it out, your drawing is so much faster. Like you draw so fast. Like how many hours drawing? It's not that many after you really know what you're gonna do. So yeah, I don't draw the whole day. That's a lie. So I can talk a bit about this one here that I did for. This is a personal illustration. Just gonna have some water. Oh, sorry, I didn't see the chat. I'm so sorry, guys. Sorry. I thought the chat was gonna roll and it didn't. Let me see. Oh, I know Neopets. Okay. Amazing meeting. Okay, thank you guys. If you need anything, yeah, you can interrupt me. I didn't see the chat. Anyway, so this one it's just an illustration I did, but it was pretty fun to do. But I have to be honest that I was a bit lost on the way, and exactly because I didn't have an idea, you know. The only idea I have, it was like I want to draw a car, like a vehicle that tells adventure, you know, like calling for adventure. And basically, I did some drawing just to have a feeling of the car, and then I set up with the, you know, like kind of with the camera of the car, and I start to add stuff on top. You can see here in this second drawing that I was like just trying stuff, and I was like super frustrated because it was not working. So that's when I stopped. Like, okay, let's think about this further. You know, like let's think about like a background, what it's gonna be, but it doesn't need to be like super detailed, you know. So yeah, so you go back to research, try to find something. You know, I really like this one that you know, it looks like they just stopped to see the view, you know. So I put it here, like it's in the side road for the main road. I don't know. And I was like, before I didn't put the shark, and I put it the shark, and I like it. I like, oh, this now is starting to feel more like something. But then you have to start to think about design, you know. It was like it was not working design, you know, because like the shark here and plus this guy here and plus this thing in the front, it was too crowded. And here that's when you start to eliminate stuff, you know, even though the ideas might be cool because, you know, this protection thing shows that, I don't know, it kind of looks military, it kind of looks like super such a like a cool car, strong, but you start to remove stuff sometimes, and you finally come up with what you wanted. So it was much simpler than I thought. So it's basically you don't really even know what are those other things. They might be just like those storage boxes when you're traveling, you put in the car. But the coolest was the shark because yeah, this is inflatable shark. And yeah, and that's what I wanted to put here. So yeah, and sometimes you have to do a bit of back and forth with your designs until you figure it out, and then I could finish, and it worked. And you know, here, because it is a face, it already shows a lot about it. And also it's like pointing, you know, at directions, pointing to the world, you know, to the adventure. And the bike here, like you don't need to draw a whole bike, but it does show that, oh nice, we're gonna also bike somewhere when we stop, you know. So yeah, that's the idea. Here's an image from Matthias Lechner. He's an art director for Zootopia. And Zootopia is a kind of movie that it's like a master of like putting so many worlds together, because it's basically all the animals in the world have they have their own house, their own communities, and they all have different sizes, and you know, it's really crazy. So how you're gonna put all the scales together, right? In a way that it works. And so if you observe this image, and like I said before, you don't really get it at first, but if you start to analyze it, you're gonna see it. So it's the house of this bunny here, and bunnies, they have like very strong the ears. It's a very strong shape language that if you see those type of ears, you know it's a bunny. So you see in that, in the design of this thing, it's all there, this bunny ears. So everything's kind of rounded, you know, even here. There are some things that are more like squarish. They don't matter that much, but like the most important lines of this image, it does bring back to the bunny and to the center of the image. So this is like, it's very simple to say and very hard to execute. And even here you have like bunny ears. So it's really cool example of design, like thinking design and story at the same time. So here he has an explanation. This is in his website, so it's pretty cool. So yeah, there is line of action of all those objects here. And yeah, and they form faces, you know, and like I said, you don't see any of that. We don't really see it, but it's there. So basically, Zootopia is like a organized chaos. And even here, so many arrows, but they're all pointing back to the character. They all like, your eyes like keep going and coming back. And here's a cool example of how he thinks of props and composition, because you have like, this is a flat drawing, you know, there's no 3D here. And he figured it out, the composition first, you know, and then he tries to think in 3D how they work and try to bring the same feeling that you could feel here to the 3D. So it's really nice. It's really nice. And this is very hard to do. And that's why, you know, they are masters. So I want to talk about a bit of the principles of design, just, you know, just to, it's going to be brief, because, you know, it's ongoing learning, because it's easy to understand the principles, to know them, but it's very hard to apply. So, okay, here are some of them. I'm going to go one by one. So let's talk about complex versus simple. So this one, it's a basic design principle, and you can see it in a more abstract way, like, yes, you know, simple and complex. And it's good to sit this way because you understand. And then you try to apply to your images, you know, to your stuff. And here it is. So you have like a very crowded and also colorful shop, and on the side you have a boring shop and not colorful at all. So your attention goes here, direct goes here. So this is design, and I love this artist. Basically, he's a master of design. Like everything he does, you're gonna find those principles. So we have curves against straights, and basically this is actually the same principle as simple and complex, because here on the straights, you're gonna have simple, it's simpler, and on the curves, you're gonna have complex. So it's the same principle, it's just different way of saying. But this is very used in animation, character design. And it's not only like this is not straight per se, but the force of this is straight. It's like a line of action. It's pointing up, and this one it's more busy, crowded, and even though inside you have all the details like the silhouette, it's telling you that this is more it's more busy this side. And here is like the most simplistic way of understanding. We also have shape language. So yeah, shape language is pretty cool because like even in live action, it can be used, right? So because it's part of our everyday life. So you know that if you have something that is more pointy, you know that that thing is more dangerous, right? So squares, they represent being stable, strong, safe. You know, they have a strong base. So that's what it feels to be safe. Soft, the circles, they always feel more harmless because they don't hurt. So, for example, for if you're designing especially for a preschool show like the Spidey and Amazing Friends, you cannot have anything pointy. Everything has to be soft, like soft edges. You cannot have, even if you're designing like a scissor, it's gonna have to be very gentle, you know. But of course, if you're gonna even like like I said in live action, this concept is very used. Yeah, and triangles are very cool because they're very dynamic. So they can be here in this part of the composition. It's like a hidden triangle right here. So they show direction. They're not just dangerous, but they show direction. Even my shark, if you think about in the car, it's like a triangle, like pointing up. This is not a prop page, but I love this page when I saw, because here shows like what is like design, you know, this applied to characters, but it's really cool to see how they really think about the shapes and they transmit that into the characters. So like this character is very rounded, very cute. This guy is supposed to be the villain, but he's actually bulky and heavy. So he's kind of like, he does shows a bit of safety there, you know? And so let's say that his representation, it's a shield, you know? So that's pretty cool. And here you have this guy, this guy, you can tell that he's more dynamic, you know? Like this guy is a bit more closed, but this one, he's more dynamic. He has like pointy arrows, but they're pointing down. So arrows pointing down, they're a bit less dangerous than pointing up. And this one, the Savior, interesting, that has like a very pointy arc here in the top. So yeah, this is a great design page. Yeah, I love Nimona. It's really cool. I love the comic book too. So I was really happy when they made it into animation. And they did like amazing design work. Like it's really good. It's really good. Amazing design work. Silhouette. So yeah, so basically all those design principles, they're kind of the same. So shape language is silhouettes too, you know, they're the same. So I put the example of my boxes here. So this one's a bit more crooked, it's funky. you know. This one, like I said, it's more gentle, has some pointy arrows, but it's quite cute still. And this one, it's more like bulky, it's more heavy. Okay, so proportion. Proportion is also like it's used in animation, like it's such a cool tool for design. It's like, because you don't know the size of this circle here if you don't have another circle. You don't know, because it could be just, you can't say, oh, this circle is so big, if you don't have a reference here. So playing with the proportion is really nice for like to design your props, you know. So if you want to do something that I want this to be the most important part, so you start to reference one to another to have it to tell your message. Another thing from proportion is big, medium, small. This is like let's say butter and bread for everything, you know, for like for animation, for designing, because everything, if you go with big, medium, small, at least something good will come out, because they just work, you know. And this is found in nature, you know. So usually you have like, you can see like on tree leaves, you can see like everywhere that you have like a big shape, and then you have something a bit smaller, and then you have something small. So this ratio here is amazing. When you can think about proportion, literally you can think about numbers. Sometimes it's easier to think this way. So if you look at this square, like, oh, which square do you like it more? You cannot answer this question, because they're the same. It's 50-50. They're basically the same. So it's boring. If that's the intention of your image, that's okay. You can do that. Or yeah, you want to show how the same they are. I don't know, two characters, they're like in a fight, showing how like their strength is the same. I don't know. So you can use that. So there's no like, no, don't use that, but it does mean boring. If you shift a little bit, like 30-70, you have something more dynamic. So your eyes, they're gonna go here. So here another example. This is an artist that also I love, Lip Comarella. So here it's a proportion exaggeration. Here you can see the big, medium, small, everywhere. So even here, it's big here, and then in the back, in the middle ground, it's medium. In the background, it's very small. So this is like, it creates depth. It creates like a familiar image, and also how he exaggerate in the proportions, like how elongated is this house and the roof, you know. It's really cool. I love his stuff. It's really stylized. Overlapping, so also a concept for animators, right? Overlapping. And overlapping creates depth, and also creates a sense, a more interesting image, you know. And like, for example, this is a classic case, like things you see first, like in the first plane, they're gonna be more detailed. The things in the middle ground, they don't need to be that detailed. So you only see two sides. Here you see the three sides, two sides. And in the background, you just see a silhouette. It's like simple. So you can use that for your props too. Here an example of props with overlapping. So it just creates a more interesting prop to look at. So even those stickers here, they are overlapping the big shapes. For example, you have a mug here. So it's really fun. Repetition is also really great tool to use in design, because you have like a basic shape, for example, and you start to repeat this basic shape everywhere in your image, and it creates a sense of unity, you know, and also it makes like a shape that is basic to be more interesting, and also creates depth and familiarity with your image. So here again, this artist Aurelian, um, I love his work. And this like repetition, as you can see, he's using the same shapes all over, same shapes like those guys, they're all over the place. And it just makes sense, you know. You look at this, like, I never saw a tree like that, but it just makes sense. I think, you know, I think it would exist in this world, this tree. So this repetition is really good to use in if you're doing like forest, you know, organic stuff like rocks. Like it's like how to draw a rock, you know, it's hard. So you start to repeating those shapes, like a basic shape start to repeat, and it does look like a cool rock, you know. So design, it's basically all those things together, but it's a balance of all those forces. So it's really cool. I want to talk about why I think prop design is so cool. I think, and to be honest, I feel like sometimes it's a bit overlooked, uh, prop design, because everybody wants to be a character designer or environment designer, and I am an environment designer too. But I think that the prop design it's great for, like, especially if you're beginning. It's an entry level job to start your career. And with props, it does show that you know how to stylize, and shows that you know how to draw. So that's really great skill to have. They also make a great portfolio piece. Even though if you're a character designer or environment designer, you're gonna need some props in your portfolio. And it's actually a big part of the production, you know, a big part of the production. We do props. So most part of the work I did for Spidey was props. And props can be like really simple to very complex, you know, and they can be like the big hero of the show. Also, it's a great way to learn perspective in a practical way. So like you can learn 1 point perspective, 2 points, but like how do you apply that? You know, it like how do you apply props? It's a good way to apply those. Um, you can refine draftsmanship skills and thinking process. And you can apply all those principles we saw, which are character design principles or environment design principles, to your props. It's a great way to practice shape language, proportions, composition, etc. I just want to talk very briefly about drawing fundamentals because I think it's very important. Um, so everything comes from a box, a cylinder, a sphere, or a pyramid. Um, and even my boring treasure chest here, it does need a bit of like understanding of how it works, those shapes. Even if you're a modeler, you're gonna have to break the concept in the most basic shapes, and usually are those the shapes. And from a simple box, you can start to build up the skills and do more complex things. So yeah, basically when you master those basic shapes and learn how to combine them, you are in a good you're good to start to designing props. Okay, let's talk about the set design now. Just gonna have some water now. So I see a question here. Does prop design go hand in hand with environment design? I don't know exactly what you mean, but like I would say that prop design, if you're beginning, it's like a beginning for environment design, because props can be like a house, it can be a castle, it can be like suppose you're designing an environment, so a prop, like that place that you're gonna showcase, like a establishing shot of an environment, and if there is like a building, so this is considered prop design, so the building that's going to be designed in that environment, it is a prop, and then later on, like when you have the prop, that's when you start to work with the cameras, and then you have environment, right? You have like I would say a finished environment piece. And yeah, I don't know if I answer your question, but yeah, they are close. I would say that props is like the step before environments. It's because yeah, environments, it depends. Like if you're an environment designer, it's basically a bunch of props together, that you do. So this task here is an environment. Like if the set design here, it would be an environment. But if you look at it's like a prop, it's just an environment full of props. And especially those overview here, I think they're really fun to do. And they're not that complicated, because if you understood the I would say the drawing fundamentals, you can draw this, and this can be even more simpler environment, Sometimes it's a smaller room, sometimes just like a nook, of a place. Sometimes the environment is inside a vehicle, too. So you can design the vehicle and you can also design inside. And this is going to be prop environment, So they go together in the production, But sometimes the production is going to ask you, oh, design me, I forgot the name of this. Let's say a plant, design me a plant. Okay, this is a single prop plant. But sometimes they can, design me the room that the character gonna live, they're gonna do the stuff. So this is a personal project I did. Yeah, it's just the name I'm still working on. And it's still a bit of work in progress with some parts. But I just did to showcase here, to show the environment. And so yeah, just looking at the image, you can kind of get a feeling that is like a detective, and like all the things in the environment tells you, gives you those clues. So I also like to play with colors, right? So this is type of detective that gonna receive their clients in their office, and so you're gonna have, like, if you think here, you think this is the chair of the client or the detective, so you can, if you think a bit, oh, I think it's actually the detective, because they have the same color, so everything that is green, it does show that is the detective. So everything that is like it's the other color, it shows that is for the client, so the sofa is for the client, it's not for the detective. And yeah, so those are the things that we're always playing in with the design and with the story. And what else? Yeah, and everything kind of points here in the middle. Also, focal point. It's one of the design principles I didn't talk, but a focal point, it's very important, and you can use it even in props too. But here in the environment, it's always pointing you to the center of the room. So like the plants are pointing here. This guy, I forgot the name. Forgot the name. It's pointing here. Also this hanger, no, not a hanger, also pointing here. So everything kind of points the image. Even the stair here, they point a little bit this direction. So it's kind of like the same idea of the other environment that we saw. And it's really fun to do. It's just that it's more chaotic to work with lots of props, and not all the props need to be designed, like so much. It's just a chair, you just have to combine. You're kind of like a interior designer at this point, and a lot of what we do actually, it's being like an architect, it's being a designer, photographer. We do everything at once. Like we have to know so many things to design stuff. So here you have to think which color is going to go with which colors, which patterns work. You have to do a research of all the furniture, to not put something that is too out of the era that you're working with. It all depends. So yeah, if you look at this, it looks complicated, but in the more simplistic way, that's what it is. It's a box. It's a shoebox. So set design is an environment full of props, and you can literally start with a drawing like this, and you just do a plain floor, and you start to add stuff, because a lot of here is planning how it's gonna go, like how it's gonna look, what it's gonna be. And you can also design those things. Like for example, you can just design this wall here, and you can design it flat, and then later that you're gonna put in perspective. So you can design the bookshelf, that's like so many books, oh my god, but you can design it just the front, because later you're just gonna put it into the perspective. So yeah, so that's a set design, which is like, it is environment. If you would be asked to do an environment in a show, this is how you would present, and maybe you would have to do the other sides just to show what is in here. Let's see. And so yeah, here's it's just like the underneath. It's a 3-point perspective. It does look scary, but it's not. Once you figure it out, the grid, and you even have many ways to do the grid. You're just gonna draw your shoebox, and you start to add the stuff inside. So basically, from props to set design, that's the idea. So I think it's really cool. And all that to say also that I'm gonna have a course, 10 weeks course, props to set design. It will be starting in 2 weeks, February 17th, also on Mondays. It's a very boring day. That's why I chose this day, so we can learn together about props and set. Yeah, and what I want to focus in the class is drawing fundamentals and design fundamentals, because once we're set in those things, and those are the skills that you build up to do like those crazy environments, that people do. But you have to build those skills slowly by slow. If you want to know the overview of what it's going to be each week, this might change and we might feel it how it goes. But basically the first week is more about dynamic sketching, basic perspective. So that's an important thing to know. So we know we're all on the same page about that. and a lot of practice. We're gonna talk again about the design principles, but we're gonna try to apply them to the designs. We're gonna talk about how to use the reference, how to do research. We're gonna talk more about how to design for a 2D show, how to design for a 3D show. We're going to design organic elements because this is very important too. Sometimes you just have to design a tree for the project, and it's cool to see how you can do. And there are also pretty cool design page. I'm going to design a vehicle or a device. We'll see how it goes, because vehicles, depending, they can be a bit more complicated, but but that's why we have to see how it goes. Or it can be a device, just like I did for the Iron Man. And then we're gonna start the introduction to set design. I'm gonna continue and a final review. So yeah, that's the idea. It's a bit longer for the set design because it does take more time. And the idea is not to do something too complicated too, And now we have our demo, and I want to know if anyone has any questions, want to ask anything. Okay, so like we don't have like a lot of time to design something amazing, but I just want to show a bit of my process, how I work, like a little bit. And the goal of this exercise is more like shape language and exaggeration. So we're gonna play with some silhouettes, see how it goes. And I did like a backstory, so we have something to have. So it's not something like just so loose. So basically, I had an idea to design a walkie-talkie. I love those things. I love those old gadgets. They're so cool. And they have a lot of character, and anyway, and they're kind of boxy too, not too complicated. So let's say that our character is a aspiring engineer or builder. And I also like to put names in my characters so I know which one I'm talking about. And also you can actually think about them as a real person, or as an actor. So I put the name Clara. So Clara discovered her love of building at age 10. Then she fixed a broken toy. Since then, she's been scavenging parts from junkyards and old electronics to create useful gadgets. So we're gonna create like her walkie-talkie. Basically that. Here are some references I took. And they have it's pretty cool. Okay, let me see. Oh, I see some questions here. Sorry. Let me see. Do you often make a 3D prop before drawing it? So yeah, it depends, like, because I know 3D, to be honest, I tend to use a bit of 3D for things that are really boring to draw, like cylinders, like cylinders are a pain to draw. So sometimes I do use, 3D as a base, very, very quick 3D, just to have like the perspective figure it out. And then I paint on top, because the 3D is nice. The 3D is nice to use, but it does like you either have to do so good the 3D like you can deliver a 3D piece, but sometimes like if it's gonna have texture and stuff, you're gonna have to texture, you're gonna have to make sure the materials are working. So sometimes it's like too much, so it's better to have like you can use like a 3D base quick, paint on top, and you can show like the materials and stuff with the reference, you know, and you try to paint the materials as close as it is. But yeah, you can use reference. This is for a 3D show. Even for a 2D show, people also use 3D, but they finish with the line work, you know. So after they do the 3D, they're gonna have to use like a pen tool or the tools that you have in 2D to finish your prop. So yeah. Yeah. It's really good to have the perspective, right? Um, but I'll talk a bit about the silhouettes exercise, and I think why it's cool because 3D is awesome, but 3D is very like hard to break, you know, because it's too perfect. So especially if you're doing a bit more cartoony, you know, more wonky, um, it's nice to not start straight with the 3D, you know, or if you're really good at like deviating from the 3D. I'm not that good, to be honest. Like the 3D sometimes make me a bit stuck. So if you don't have this problem, like if you're very good at like going crazy with your lines, and then you can use the 3D base. But for me, I like to start 2D first. So I catch the idea first, the feeling I want to create, and then I go to the 3D. I do the base, I go back to the drawing, and I try to always push back for the you know, for that feeling, especially the one I did here. I can show you really quick. This guy here, this is a 3D, and I used 3D in this case because I wanted to practice 3D. But if you look here, the development, when I was modeling those things, they were straight, you know. And I was like, wow, there's something wrong. And then I realized that in my concept, those things they're pointing, you know, they have more the line of action. And when I was doing the 3D, I did like straight. And that's the thing, that's the good thing to have a drawing, you know, so you don't forget those line of actions. And if I was gonna design this direct in 3D, I'm pretty sure it would be like a much more boring, you know, a much more boring, let's say, uh, boat, because I would be so stuck with the 3D that you have those straight, you know, just extrusion. Anyway, so you have to be really good at 3D, let's say, or really good at being able to break those edges from the 3D. And see what you said. Yeah, it is hard to get organic vibe from 3D. Yeah, it is really hard. So here is the reference. I'm gonna just stop showing my screen because I'm gonna switch the screens because I work in my Cintiq that is down here. So let me just stop. I'm gonna share the other screen. I'm just gonna have my references here and my Photoshop. Okay, so let me share the other screen now. Okay. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, let me know. I'm gonna. Are you guys seeing my screen? Yes, right? Okay, just to make sure. Okay, thank you. So So here is, I did a very brief character just to have a bit of like idea of scale of like who's this person, you know. Yeah, I love the I don't know, those glasses here, but it is, yeah, that's a character, just a silhouette. So yeah, you don't need to go super deep in the character, I mean like the design, because like I'm not a character designer, and it takes very long to do a character, you know, to design a character that is good and believable. So sometimes you can just like do a silhouette just to get a feeling, you know, of your character. And here I put a bit of my process. And the first step would be looking at the reference. So we have the reference and understanding. I'm going to do silhouette studies.
I don't
Oh,
think we're seeing the Photoshop. I think we're just looking at your meeting screen.
oh, really? Wait,
Yeah.
thank you for letting me know. Let me see what is going on. Oh, wait. Let me stop. Oh, okay. I shared the wrong screen. Sorry.
It's no problem. I just noticed. I was like, where is everything she's talking
Yeah,
about?
yeah. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, yeah. So now it's correct. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I don't know if you guys catch that's the character I was talking about. Yeah, I just did it was a quick sketch just to get the character. Here's my reference. And here's some notes so I don't forget. So first is like look at the reference that we have. I'm gonna do some silhouette studies too, and those are really fun, and that's where you get like the line of action, you get the all those you know, fun shapes of your props. Then we're gonna do thumbnails, some variations in rough stage, color studies, and final. I think we don't have enough time to do those color studies and final, you know, but I think we can get like a rough stage just to at least visualize this prop. So I'm gonna start with the silhouettes, and so yeah, I just grabbed some brush. Oh yeah, I just wanted to say too about the box very quick. So if you're like, it's very important to like everything comes from a box, and basically when you're designing something or even drawing something, you know, if I just want to draw that thing, you know, that I'm seeing, if it's a prop or an object, you know, you always think as a box, you know, because everything comes from here. So even if you're gonna do like a cylinder, you know, a cylinder comes from a box. So let's say that, oops, cylinder fits right here in my box. Also, another cool thing to draw a box and is to understand like the planes. And when you have like when you find the middle line of your box, so here's the middle line. I'm gonna put another color. So you have here the other middle line. And yeah, so this is like, those points are very important to understand. So if you're designing like a building, you know that there is a window here, and this window is going to be there. But if you would eyeball this, would be really hard, you know, like to understand which one it's bigger, you know, like this side's going to be bigger than this always. So the middle line is very, very important. You can also do it just like this, like just like an X, and you can start like, I don't know, you can design. I'm gonna put another color. So you can design anything from here, from this ground plane. And even cars they come from a box. So you start to like to extrude them. It's gonna be like a boxy car, but still. So, you know, so you have like a car or a truck, and you start to add things. But the middle line is really important, because all the other how can I say, lines, they are helping to reference what it is underneath. So middle line is really important always. And also that concept of drawing behind your object, so you know that it's here. So starting with the silhouettes, I grab some brush, and I'm gonna do black and white because I think it's better. And just for the part to understand the object. So basically the object, it's simple. So we have like, they all have like, okay, this is like the base. They all gonna have antenna. So this is very important element. They need a speaker. So like a speaker like this. They all have like a volume, you know, you see volume, or yeah, like here. So you're gonna have like a volume button, and maybe another button to on and off. And you have the side button here that is very cool to be able to speak. So this is our like, this is the basic elements that we need in this design here. And with that in mind, that's the silhouettes that we're gonna create. So that's what you do, like looking at your reference, trying to understand what are like the most important elements of this. Like you can add other buttons, you know, but they're gonna be like an add-on, you know. But the most important are those are essential. So antenna, side button, speaker, volume, maybe on and off. That being said, we can start silhouettes. I'm gonna do like, I don't know, like 10 silhouettes. And I don't know if it's gonna be too boring because you know, it's hard to speak and draw. And also I'll be thinking. Anyway, if you guys have anything, you can just say. And if I have anything interesting to say, I'll say it. So let's start. We can start like with the most basic shape, right? Which is this square here. And and I saw like the silhouettes, they don't need to be black, like with just one color, you know. It's okay, you know, like you can add some details just to understand what it is, you know. that you're doing, because black silhouettes, they're nice like um for analyzing the silhouette itself, but for creating you don't need to do like, oh, it needs to be all just one color, you know. There's no rules, we can always do whatever we want. So I always like to start with silhouettes, but they have something inside them, you know. So here's the button. We want to do something stylized, you know, that it's not realistic. Okay, I'm gonna can start with the most basic one for now. Store. And as we think in with character designers, we can also think here proportions, you know. So we can start to break like proportions and use the we can use the transform tool, you know. It's a great tool to play with the proportions, and we can start like creating something different from the first one. So see, it already has a different feeling from the second, and it's just like a change of proportions. And we can go back and forth on them too. Let's see. So exaggerate container. Let's start. And I can go a bit crazy on some shapes just to feel more loose, you know. Some of the speakers were rounded. It's pretty interesting. Spot me. It's more bulky antenna, like a shorter, like those guys here. So yeah, I think it's like a cool shape actually. Yeah, I can try now. Let's one. Can have multiple antennas. Maybe the speaker is down here in this part. purple here.
Yeah.
Should have like two antennas. Yeah, two antennas is it's nice. Kind of gives a interesting feeling.
Mm-hmm.
We have two speakers. I don't know. You can get this shape and play the other side. Looks like an alien. I don't know. So yeah, like the silhouettes are fun because you can explore like different things and not get too attached to anything and really like be loose and don't need to be a finished drawing here. So I think it's fun to do silhouettes and it can be relaxing too because yeah you don't have the weight of choice yet. You know, you're just like playing with the shapes. Looks like very thin little work. Yeah, this is exaggeration, like a very thin. Like you probably never saw anything like this in real life, but maybe in this world it exists. You know, so it's like horizontal. Why not? This one looks more like a radio, more than a walk talk. It's like a bit harder to carry, but I can leave it as I mean, it's just a silhouette practice. Those with the rounded are, yeah, they're pretty cool, pretty interesting design. It's cool because they break the square shape, so it looks very interesting. I like those here. Silhouettes. Yeah, it's interesting. This one. like two speakers, some antennas. A bit more crowded. This looks like a little bit like already like something that should maybe build up with other parts. Like those look like more manufactured, but it's more complicated to draw. See once they come. Yeah, it's pretty good. Well, overall silhouettes. Let's see if we can just from those maybe one work. This coming try to make something different. It would be nice to have like other materials, and stuff like that. I just don't want to get out of too much of the necessary items here, so we can finish this design. Really runs to like a big speaker, an antenna. See, so you have two antennas. You have a side antenna. Like if you leave like this, you see they're too similar, so you have to always make them a little different. One thinner, the other one like more thick. So that creates a more interesting silhouette than having the same sizes and the same. Doing antennas can also go other directions. It just starts to, and you see like the shape language starts to get like spiky and weird. It can be interesting. Like everything depends on the story. Like it's not a bad design. It's just like maybe this is too spiky, but it's actually nice to have like going different directions. But then you see how I already make it more threatening, this thing. And yeah, I like this guy here. I mean, if it would finish, this guy could be interesting. Let me see what else. Let me see if the chat said anything. Okay. Okay. Let me see. The guy here is pretty cool too. The two antennas. It's hard to pick like which one to go, but Yeah, this is nice. Kind of looks like she implemented a second antenna, in something that she had it before, and she put a second antenna on it. Mm. Yeah, maybe I can go with this one here. I think it's a fun shape. It's like pretty exaggerated. Yeah. See the other side. Could be good. Like this one too. Pretty fun. Oh, let's go with this guy for now and see how it goes. It's not for the reason. So let's say like this is like our chosen design for this. Yeah. So I like the speakers here, they can be still to be a fun element, and it's very exaggerated. So big speaker. I think it's missing the side button to speak. Could be this one. Yep, here's the volume. It'd be like a slider type of volume. That would could have some other button here on top. And see what else we have here. Mm. And like those are fun, like a logo, like for the brands, so it's a logo. So you start to catch those ideas from your reference, looking them all together. Like they'll always have a brand because it was manufactured somewhere. So this is the type of speakers we're gonna do, like just like a stripes and antenna. It would be something like this for the antenna, and the other button. And this is nice too. And the volume, I thought about a slider. We don't have it here, but I know that they exist. It's like you push this like either this way or either this way and have your volume. So let's play a bit with this design now. So I'm gonna try to draw just like to have like a base here. but I like to draw more with shapes than with line. I'm not much of a line artist. More like a painter. So I like big shapes and stuff. Um, Lines, they're very hard for me. I get lost on with them. So, but I do draw lines just to get a feeling of those first, just to know where the planes are. Yeah, I figured out planes with lines, but I don't do line work. Even if it's a 2D design, I do shapes, big shapes, and then later on I figure out the lines, but not the lines. So that's a preference. And I guess there's no right or wrong, you know. So I'm gonna try to catch the proportion here, so it's a bit more extruded, more taller and thin. It's a bit thick too, but I can correct this later. It's just to have like the base, and we're gonna have our favorite middle line. So yeah, this is just a base, and putting like this, so I know. I'm gonna draw with this brush. But yeah, this brush is a square brush, kind of. It has some rounded sides. See. Oh yeah, thank you for coming. Really, thank you. And then later you can see the final. Yeah, you know. Yeah, I was reading the chat. That's why. um. So yeah, for the other side here, I always do a little darker. Yeah. So we. Oh. Um. So we have like already know like the sides, but it's not that bulky. It's a bit less than what I drew with the line. Here's the top. It's even too thick. I would say it's more slim, you know. Yeah, also another way to design, like for example, we have this now, right? You can also like design the side, you know, how thick it is, you know. Like I don't want this to be too thick, so let's take something like this. And then you can literally like do, you know, get like another layer so that you kind of know where is it. So you have this here. You can delete. It's gone. Same here. Those things are kind of inside, so you don't see much of them. And then you're gonna have this guy here, kind of like here. So you're always like referencing the sides, the how big it is, how tall it is. The one in the back is gonna be bigger. I'm gonna do darker so we don't see it. And then back, it's like very thick, so thick and thin. It's a little bit. Let's go in here. Yeah. So yeah, now we kind of have like figured out the side, you know. People, not else. Sometimes they have like little feet, but not necessary right now. Yeah, so we have like the side figured out. How thick it is. So yeah, now like another thing you can do, you know, like there's no cheating, you know, in drawing or when you want to deliver something, because sometimes they're like, oh, you have to draw everything, you know. No, we have to do fast work, you know. So it's a trick you can always do, you know. You grab your thing here and you gonna like actually put it here, you know. And you already have it. Like, wow, it's a good trick. Goodbye. So they're just not in the right position, but then you can like rip them away from here. You kind of have like where they're sitting. So you can like rip it. So, you know, kind of where they're positioning. You know, it's just fun. You know, it's simple. It looks fun. You know, looks fun and fun drawing. You know, like for a cartoon show, for example. You know, if it was be realistic, like realistic stuff is it's realistic. You know, you still can play with the proportions, but everything has to be more like perfect. And that is what is so cool about animation. It's more loose. It's fun. Also, this guy here, he's a little bit, has a bit of space. So we're already, it's already starting to look like something, and I think it's still too thick. We need more thinner. So those guys, they have to come. So here's more like, yeah, when we are lost about the shapes, you draw a box. So you know where are the sides, you know. And here you're already not seeing much of the sides, like the top or the bottom. But you know this is the side, you know this is the front. So with that, now you can paint both. And I also have a, I don't know if you guys noticed, but I have a shortcut for new layers here, which I think it's like I use a lot of layers and then I just erase them. But I have a shortcut, so I just do many layers as much layers as I want. So it's very fast to work like that. So I know here and the other side I'm gonna do a little darker. Those are not the like oh that's the values, you know. We're still like we're still more figuring out where things are rather than like rendering. Like this is not a render. This is just like figuring out on where things are. So if you do this trick here, at least I call it a trick too, to do like, you know, So one side, like different values, like the front a bit lighter, the sides darker. So it's just a trick, but this is not rendering, it's just like, it's just for visualization. And also, like, when you're a designer, for concept, like, you're always faking the lighting, because people have to look at your object and understand what it is. So let's think that this prop has been like, if it was like a real prop, it's been photo shooted in a studio, so it's going to be like a lighting that helps, the product, like a photographer does back in time when they would, photo shoot for like advertising, So it's kind of like advertising in a way, but you don't need to do extreme lightings here because you want people to understand. So it's kind of like try to make the local colors more local, like what they are, instead of like, oh, this coming from like a super blue light and pink light from the back and it's all crazy, it's kind of, it doesn't really help to people understand what is your prop, because let's say that this is for a production, so the lighting is gonna be, it's gonna get from from the story, from the other department. So you can show like sometimes how your prop would interact in some type of lightings, but if someone asks you to do so, but for production, you just do like the basic lighting. Here they're conflicting a bit, so I'm just gonna do, so this guy here is hard to see. Just gonna put like this. Oh, and I'm gonna look at my reference. So yeah, it's so cool, right? It has all those things. So this is something I can just grab it because it's too far. So I'm gonna steal this, That's how you're literally steal things. Like, yeah, I'm gonna steal this and this, and it's okay, because in the end you want it to look that it's actually, like realistic. I mean, you got from the world, so it's good to have like real references, real world references. So it has like those. Let's see how I'm gonna do. Then you can copy this one. Okay. I can go invert. So I'm gonna copy again. I'm just gonna invert. And you see if it looks cool, and like, wow, look, it's already looking like something. Yeah, I would say for this, the question is, for this fun design, is this process more for 2D show design or CG design? Thank you, Carlos. Amazing. Well, honestly, I tend to do more 3D. Like, I'm very used to it. Like I said, I'm not much line, but you can definitely, like, after finishing this, you can come with the pen tool, for example, and like, but it has to be more precise. So that's the thing for the 2D show. It's because your lines, they have to be super precise, because that's the the line quality it has to be the same as the show quality, you know. So it's almost like you're designing, like when it's 2D, you have to like your page is the final product. If it's for a 3D show, this is not the final, you know, because the final it's gonna be modeled, so it's not my problem. It's not my problem. That's what I like about the 3D show. But for example, I would leave it this reference and say this antenna is this material, is this design, you know. But for the 2D show, you're gonna have to do the line work. So you're gonna have to like work. Oops. Correctly, not like that. Because this is still like a sketch, you know. Because this is still a sketch, so we're still in the sketching phase. So let's say that this is my 2D show, so you can like, with the path, you know, I mean, everyone has their own way to work too. It also depends on the show. Some shows require to be loose line, some shows require to be perfect line. So if it's a perfect line, path, using path tools and all those tools here, they are the best for 2D show. And then when you do the path, you choose the like, let me see here. Some Kyle brush. This just like, yeah, and I think you're gonna have to remove the dynamic shape. So see what else. Let's see how it works. So you have to choose the point, you know, and the size, and then you have your path, and then you're gonna like do the line. Oh, but my layer is in the back, so let's put it up. So you have a line here, you see, and it has to be. I'm just gonna remove this guy here. Okay, so you have a line here. I'm gonna copy the line to the back so you can see. And then you have to fill it, you know. So I have a command here that fill it for me. Yeah. So because you need that, you need speed. So then you have it like, you know, and then all the other details you're gonna have to do the line work too, you know. So this could be 2D, you know. So it really depends. For me, like for now, I'm gonna do what is like a bit faster to do. So I'm doing kind of like a rough, let's say for a 3D show. Yeah, I could say that it's for a 3D show. Let's see if there's any more questions. Are there more steps and interactions when designing for a 3D show, such as rendering props with more details, providing a turnaround? So yeah, it depends on the prop. You know, if it's like a simple prop, and like, and this is also not visual development, because I think visual development, everything's more loose. But if you're like for Spidey, it wouldn't be like too much like giving too many options, you know. Sometimes we design something and they'll be like, okay, you know, it's good, you know. So yeah, sometimes if some prop is more important, then you can like, oh, option A, B, and C, and then you send it to like to approval, and you can literally send like, because it's just like ideas, and ideas are faster than final renders, you know. Final renders, they take too long. So you can literally like give the options here, you know, not all of those, because this is crazy. You're gonna make them mad, like what the hell. But you can like definitely say, okay, so this is my option. So this is my option A, and then you have option B, and then like option, let's say C, you know, and and then it goes for approval, you know, like, okay, this goes for approval, like just this page here, like you submit this, you know, literally just this, and say this is a whip, and this is like, this is for I want some feedback, which one should I go for, you know. And once they say, okay, I want this option, and then you can like design final, you know, you can design final, and it's going to ring stem for now. And then you can like show front, side, and some other views, you know, rather than, yeah. And then you're going to show the materials and stuff for the surfacing team. I don't know if that has answered your question. Yeah, like turn around, like you don't need, oh, thank you. Yeah. You don't need like an actual turnaround, you know, like 45, 45. Yeah, it's not necessary. Like a 3D quarter view is good. Front, side, top view is good. You're done. So maybe for a 2D show, you need to do all the sides because again, that's the prop that's going to be in the show. So you need to do all the turnarounds. But for 3D, let's say it's a bit simpler in this sense, you know. So yeah, now we can also erase our guides here, I think. So yeah, it's starting to look like something, you know. You keep refining this and oops. And also it's like a rounded material, so and this guy here, this guy is big, so it has to be like smaller, you know. And yeah, sometimes the view doesn't favor some details, but it's part of it. So we can make it a bit shorter, and it's also rounded, so we don't need the side here. So this is almost silhouettes again. And you just like keep adding. Oh. And trying to like, you know, trying to not do like try to what's the name? Forgot when one is on top of the other, you know. But here they're the same height, it's boring. So again, this is all design, so you have to like, okay, so this is too high. Let's break it. Let's not make it same height because it's boring. So maybe this one it's even slim. Ah, okay, that's right. So yeah, you see, it looks like cool. Looks a bit cooler. Let's see if we make this guy a bit shorter. Let's work with this button here. See if there's any other questions. Okay. And we see how they do the buttons. Oh, this is nice. So we can try something like this with those details that are pretty cool. So I'm gonna draw my little box here so I know what's going on. And it's nice that it comes out a bit of the silhouette too. I think it's gonna be rounded like this, like the reference, and has those like details like even like this. So now that I have my okay, how do you know how many references are enough? How much time do you spend looking for reference? Yeah, so reference is like an ongoing thing. I wouldn't say that there is a right time, but like you have to really measure to not get lost in the reference searching because it's too much, you know, and that's when you have to have a clear idea of what you want, you know, because the idea it's gonna like always remove the so many references you have, you know. You have too many references, but like what are they for, you know? So you have to pick them, you know. But in this case, because we're more playing with stylization, you know, so I just grab a bunch of references, enough references, because if you get more, they're very repeating too. So you don't need more than this. And the timing, it really depends. But like I was saying in the beginning, prep work, it's very important. So sometimes it takes a long time with references, you know, because once you have them all, you're settled to draw. And see, you can draw quite fast, you know. But also, I would say that sometimes you need more reference, you know. So sometimes you have to stop your work and look for reference, like for a detail or for material, you know. If it's this for a 3D show, you're gonna render, I need to understand how this material works, you know, stuff like that. So no problem. Let me see. Andrea said, I like how stylization doesn't have to be precise and exactly like realistic is. It's liberating feeling. Yeah. Yeah, I like it too. Yeah, I like it because, you know, maybe you could have this design in a realistic, but still like all the edges, they have to be super straight, you know, like you can have like something exaggerated, but it's just like it's my style, you know. It's more cartoony stuff, so yeah. Let's see. Would you say the speed you're drawing right now is similar to how fast you work on a real project? Yeah, I would say yes. I would say that is, yeah, it is a little bit. You know, sometimes like a prop, you know, like you're like a simple prop that is not super important, right? Because the important props, you take time. But like, you know, you can finish in a half a day, you know, like 4 hours, you know, 4 hours. So basically 1 hour and a half for research, you know, a couple of hours like doing those silhouettes, doing some studies, and 1 hour rendering. you deliver, you know, it's quite fast, you know, for a prop, you know. And also because you have the story settled when you're in a, if you're, like I said, if you're in a production, you know, when you're working for yourself, I think you can take the time as you want and you need to make the project look like what you want, you know. And also you're gonna deviate more with the ideas usually, at least myself. So oh, change some, you know, a little bit darker so we can see. And again, this is not the render, you know, it's fine. And rendering, it's a bit time consuming too, you know. You don't need to be super like a render, you know, realistic. And even if it's a 2D show, we don't, it's never going to be it's never going to be rendered for a 2D show, right? So a 3D show is also not necessary to be rendered. Just want to do the details. I'm going to do a bit darker. Let's see. Yeah, you know, something like that already tells, yeah, there's a bit of texture you can maybe cut. Oh. It's not gonna, you have like the bottom and those things, they're always like inside. So let's say that like this, it just looks like the button it's glued in the thing, you know. So like you would need to do like a little bit like something that it goes inside, you know. And same here. Symbol. It's great. I love cartoons. I like yours. Oh, thank you, Andre. Thank you. Yeah, I love cartoon style. It's fun. Okay, let's see now. Yeah, I think it's starting to look nice. We can fix this part here. Yeah, just to be a bit better because it's messy. I have a bit time, so let's and then I take a look how it is done. Yeah, so they're kind of rounded and they have like, and it's nice, those roundness, and here's rounded too. It fits with our design, you know. We're in, okay. Oh, we could order. And then we can erase here. So yeah, it's not super perfect, but it's okay. And now we can like, and again, we can always cheat. I say cheat because it's a faster way of doing things than drawing, you know. Like it's not cheating; it's just working smarter. And so you can do like this. just duplicate them. But okay, I think it's even longer. So let's do it a bit more. And this, and erase the rest. And now we're gonna get the transform tool, and we're gonna put it here.
Yes.
So we have it. And I think it has to go 8. If you have time, you can even play like, oh, and if it was like more space in between them, you know, you can try, but for now it's good the way it is. I'm gonna know what happens there. I erase it by mistake. Okay, yeah. So now let's see. Let's fix this guy here. And we can make like a black like this. And I'm gonna erase the sides. You can start to erase those things too. And we'll see. Okay. So my slider, you know, it's very dark, but I'm gonna this would be the slider. And I mean, we can make it lighter. And I'm gonna have to understand. So I'm gonna raise a bit here. So because this thing enters a little bit like this, so I have to draw the inside just to understand. So the button's gonna slide inside here. When designing props, do you always use orthographic perspective? You mean like I think yes, it's because orthographic doesn't have a perspective, right? It's like more flat, you mean? It depends, I think. Yeah, I wouldn't say this is orthographic, but it's just because a box is very similar to an orthographic view. You know, they're very similar, but when I'm designing my boxes, I tend to like, you know, they're not orthographic. You know, they are going somewhere, like some point all the way there. But because it's such a small scale, you don't see much, of difference of perspective. But let's say, yes, it's kind of like an orthographic drawing. It does have a bit of perspective, but yeah, it's easier to see this way, rather than making too hard perspectives. So yeah, this object is just an object. If it's a big scene, then you need perspective, and you're gonna see the object in many angles. So now I'm gonna draw the button, which is gonna be sitting here in the back, but it does come out. Okay, so yeah, it's very boxy, so the design is a bit weird. I can use the button right here. And break the so it's just the lighting. This thing is like too much, and also I would like to break the it's too square, to be more fun. Well, at least now we have the sides. It's gonna just take a little shadow here. And maybe for this button, I would grab some reference, because I don't have it here, like a slider, like how it goes, But the important part is that it's there. Um, and we would have the numbers here. Those could be lights too, Some could have some lights. The volume. No, I wouldn't love it here. Yeah, maybe you don't need the volume, such a small detail. It's not necessary. This could need volume, but it would be actually nice if it was some sort of light. Like small lights here. I would turn on. And then we would have our would be some branding. See. For a show, you wouldn't be able to put a branding, but if it's for yourself, you can. But let's say, yeah, I cannot put any branding. But sometimes the shows, they have like their own lettering, so you could do like the show lettering. That would be okay. Like, suppose this is the lettering of the show, so this is my brand. Yeah, I think we're almost done. Like for a rough, this is pretty good. Now maybe some rendering would be, would have to be done here. We can do like really quick, just to have like a bit of rendering. Some we have some separation. You can see better like the lighting and stuff. But oh no, it's good. Good. Also, you can imagine some lighting, but it's like the most basic lighting, like it's a lighting coming this way, right? So all the planes facing top is gonna be lighter. Everything's gonna be lighter. A bit of highlights here. And yeah, so this is like a very basic lighting, because we don't need to be doing anything too complicated here for presentation, but always have to think of lighting, of like how to present your work, so this edge here always gets more light because it's like rounded, so the light hits here, just here. Also this edge too, y'all, it always gets more light. This guy here, let's see. Let me see if there's any questions. Okay. My layers are a mess because that's how I I work. But then I organize. I'm very organized actually. It's just like when you're creating something, you have to be fast, so it's gonna be a bit messier. So I'm trying to find this layer here in the back. Yeah, this guy here. Yeah, this guy. So this guy is lighter. So let's try. And yeah, there's something on top of it. I don't know which one is this. Okay, I'm gonna delete. And when it's like that, you can also start drawing on top. Okay, that highlight is gone, but it's okay. I'm gonna get it back. Make it lighter. Too much. Now let's take a look. A bit too much. So maybe just like that is good. See what else.
Very.
Maybe here I could more also. Icons for the fingers, you know. Let's see if it's better. And here we're gonna need them. Here. Did you put some highlights here? Let's see. It's framing this guy, its antenna, and a bit darker. And also gonna have some highlight. Wait. I'm gonna make it separate so I can play with. But I will do much less. So otherwise she calls too much attention. Then I put them together. Same here, also some highlights. Let's see. So if we were to create our own prop design portfolio, would it be similar to your portfolio that you showed us? You can give a list of what we should include. Yeah, I think like, yeah, that's a good question. I think when you're creating a prop for your portfolio, I think there are some ways you can show, you know. I think you can either do a collection of props from the same environment, even though you're not showing the environment, but you can also do like something like this, but you're gonna have to do like a design page, you know. It's good to have design pages. I think it shows like your professionalism, you know. So let's say that a design page, actually that's a good idea. Let's do that now, because it's physically done our prop. So I'm just gonna put all together. Let's see. There's more. I think it's those guys here. I think we already almost over here, so let me do that. Like a presentable page. Where is this guy? It's a mess. It's okay. So here's my walkie-talkie. So let's put this in like bigger, you know, because this is what matters. Oops. We don't need this right now. Those are the views. Okay. Remove them. So we have like front and back. They can be smaller, they matter less. No. And we have what? Okay, we'll focus here. I'm gonna put orange. See what goes. Yeah, those are just my stuff. So we have those small ones, right? So a cool design page, you know, it could be something like this. Oh, not this. One, see. So yeah, you can grab all the silhouettes you did and you can put them like together to show, you know. So you have the silhouettes here. Oh, there's one that's Kate. So, for example, this could be some design page, you know. And so for example, so yeah, let's say that you would take this to a finish, right, with color and everything. So you would have your rendered piece right here, and then you would have behind, but this, and just remove those guys. So let's say this is like design is, it's about composition, you know, so you have to find the best composition here, but usually like also think about ratio, you know. So it's nice to have some separation, so you can do like some lighter color, you know, and you have your bigger prop. Those guys are a bit lost at the moment, but it's okay. So you can have like the silhouette studies here, and you can like put a chosen one. So there you have like a design page. Yeah, and you can put stuff written, you know, like it's really cool. It adds a lot to your work. It could be like a cool typo. So silhouettes, I don't know how to write. I know it's wrong. Silhouettes, and then here you put a highlight that is the chosen one, you know, and then you have like final. So you have a design page, and you can put walkie, talkie, but everything done nicely, not like this. But yeah, and then you have like a design page. So this is a cool way to present your work. You know, if it's like a single prop, you can show how you got into the result. You also have those pages that you have a bunch of props together, you know. So yeah, I think that's it, guys. Oops. Yeah, if you have more questions, let me see what else people are saying here. So, okay, that's a look, so when you feel comfortable with the design or the shapes or shadow, when you feel comfortable with the design or the shapes of shadows, light. What do you mean? Can you say again? I have to go, but thank you, Brian. When you feel comfortable with the design. Yeah, when I feel comfortable with the design, that's when I start to add the shading and stuff, you know, because otherwise it's gonna be messy to change. So I like to design first the yeah. Thank you. Yeah, sorry, I was reading this chat. Yeah, so I do like to render later because I was like figuring out some of the shapes. So after figuring out the shapes, I know they're not gonna change, so I can start work with the lighting, you know. Monica, thank you so much. Thank you, Andrea. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. I'll try to finish this and post later so you guys can see like a finish, but this is like a rough stage. And with colors would be really cool too, you know. There are many ways to put colors in this thing. Yeah, I'll stay here until 9 if you guys want to ask anything. Yeah, I'll be here. Rosemary, good job. Thank you. Thank you for coming. Very happy that everybody that came, like really, thank you so much, guys. And some familiar faces. Thank you. Um, yeah, I'll finish, but if you guys wanna hang out, yeah, it's you can ask more questions, but yeah, it was so rad to watch your process. Thank you. Bye, Maíra. Have a very nice evening. Thank you, Andrea. Thank you, Rainbow, Richie. Also, it's really nice to see some people here. Thank you very much. So yeah. I'm gonna go make dinner. Can't wait to see the final. Thank you. Thanks. This was fun. I was following along the demo. Oh, that's so cool. That's so cool. Yeah. Yeah, this is an exercise you guys can do too. Like it's actually would be really fun to see your results. Yeah. Cool, cool. Yeah, I love walk talks. I really love. I had when I was a kid, and I still obsess over them. Can do some shadows. And see. Might try sci-fi walkie-talkie post and tag. Oh, awesome! Yeah, that would be really, really cool. I love that. I really love to see. If you want to see results, is there a drive we can send them in? Maybe. Yeah, I can ask. I can ask the guys who organize the workshop, or if you want to send me, it's okay too. If you want to send me on Instagram, you know, or my email, yeah, my email and send you. Yeah. I want the part 2. Yeah. Rendering is another task. Awesome. I'll paint. I'll have to do like a color study to see how it goes. But yeah, it's a simple object. At least it's not too complicated. But you can put some stickers, you know, like we saw in the reference. We can paint, like she painted, you know, stuff like that. And this button can be longer, I think. Let's see. You try to bring a storytelling for your props, but yeah, I do. I always try to bring storytelling for my props. You know, I think it's very important. This one, I don't know, because I know Lucas. Maybe I think you're not in the very beginning or like, but let me see if I can find here. So I did a quick like it's a quick story, like here, a prompt. It's okay, all good, all good, all good. So there's like a prompt that I put here. So yeah, so I always like to give a bit of backstory, you know, for my character. This is actually a character for a story I wanna do. Like I always wanted to do a sci-fi character. I want to design a ship, you know, like a control room, everything, and this could be one of the props, and it could be something that she built it, you know. So yeah, it could have like some stickers, some tapes, you know, to show that she did it, you know. If, for example, if she put this antenna here and it wasn't here before, you know, it could have like a part, some part like this that you know. So see, I already added to the prop, and it looks pretty cool. So you can also, like, you can start adding stuff, you know, while you're building. Yeah, actually it looks cool. And you can remove this. Yeah, that would be like the like kind of like the end. Yeah. Well, anyway, yeah, I think I'm gonna turn off then. It's already 9, and yeah, if you guys have any other questions, find me on Instagram, or this will be recorded, so they're gonna share the link somewhere. I can send you my Instagram, my email, in case you wanna contact me. Let me find my Instagram handle. I never remember. Find here. So my Instagram is Maíra Valentim, and my email is this. Yes. Okay, guys, it was good to see you. Some familiar faces here. Yeah. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Stop. Yeah, thank you, Tabi. Thank you so much. Really. Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna close now. I just don't want to like close in everybody's face. So anyway, thank you guys so much, and I see you soon. Okay, bye bye.